lot about how great penises are. But we don't hear a lot about why penises are so great. Well, I'm a primatologist, so a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight is the fact that we think penises are great because women make them great. We need to hear the other side of this story. So I'm going to turn to one of the most famous philosophers of the 21st century to get a quote about the theme. So, sex is like a beautiful meeting of genitalia. It's the dance of love between a penis and a vagina. Well, dance of love is perhaps a little bit extreme. However, it makes a good point that penises don't exist in isolation. You can have the best or singing or dancing penis in the world, and your brilliant genes won't pass on unless there's a woman who wants to mate with you. So, being a primatologist, I'm now going to go to this very, very cute little guy. He's a bush baby. Very big cute eyes, very big cute ears, and his name also means little monkey of the night. About the size of a guinea pig, so everything about him, right, is really pretty adorable. Even got a cheeky little smile on his face. Perhaps, though, that is because he's hiding one of these in between his legs. This is a lovely range of bush baby penises, complete with some quite spectacular penile spines. Now, bush babies have such big penile spines, they can actually lock the females in place during sex. So this is one of those things that is pretty good for the male. This is pretty good for the sake of competition. If you're trying to get rid of all the other males, physically locking her in place will do the job. Not so great for females. As we all know, humans can't do this. However, our closest relatives, the chimpanzees, do have penile spines. They are not as spectacular as the very cute-looking bush baby, but they do exist. What actually are penile spines? Well, they're made out of keratin, so it's the same kind of protein that you get in fingernails and in your hair, but crucially, they're very, very sensitive to the touch. So you may already be guessing at this point that there's a disadvantage to having hypersensitive bumps on a penis. It does have a negative effect on the duration of sex. In fact, chimpanzee sex lasts on average 7 seconds. So this is another thing that isn't so great for the female. We now know from the only currently published source that compares the duration of sex in a range of primates, including humans, that human sex without the penile spines can last up to 120 seconds. So, a lot of people will dispute this figure based on varying numbers of anecdotal evidence. We're just going to move on. So my next question is, what do these three people have in common? Well, the answer is, of course, none of them have a penis bone. So what we're looking at here is a woolly monkey, top left, a spider monkey in the middle, and for the sake of this comparison, an example of human species on the right-hand side. These are the only three primates of more than 600 known species that don't have a penis bone. What is a penis bone? It is literally a bone that comes inside the penis to make getting an erection easier. So, yes. If you Google image search monkey penis bone, you will get a lovely photo of my face. One for the CV. Also get some slightly more useful, perhaps, photos on the right-hand side here of some raccoon penis bones. If anyone's interested, I also have an ethically sourced raccoon penis bone with me this evening. Come and find it at the end of the show if you want to have a look at that. We also have an example here on the bottom left of a walrus penis bone. They can be around 3 feet long. In fact, humans aren't only unusual among primates for not having a penis bone, but among all mammals. What is the purpose of a penis bone? Well, basically, it's cheating. This goes back to something we refer to as honest signalling in evolutionary theory, and in order for that to work, in order for a female to choose a mate based on what she thinks will be the best genes for her offspring, Well, she needs an honest signal of this. If there's a bone cheating, basically, making a larger erection, a longer erection, this doesn't really work in terms of the health of the individual. So even the world's greatest actor cannot fake an erection. If we're talking about female choice here, it's really great for humans that males have lost the ability to cheat like this. So this is a male bonobo. I couldn't really do a talk about female choice without mentioning bonobos. The famously sexy ape. This, as you can probably tell, is a male. But they are a female-dominant species. Violence does still exist for bonobos, but they're much more likely to use sex. So I've brought a little bit of a list of the things that bonobos use sex for. Stress reduction. They use it as a handshake for welcoming a new member to the group, to gain social status, usually females with other females, because they have all the status in the first place. They use it to say good morning. It's quite a nice one. For erotic games such as penis fencing. And my particular favourite, there's group sex before most meals, which leads to more sharing of the food. So I actually study primate vocalizations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about copulation calls for the rest of this talk. Just launch straight into it. So that's a female bonobo copulation call. She basically uses that to tell the rest of the social group that she's having sex. This is important news that everyone needs to hear about. This is the male bonobo copulation call. He seems to be a little bit more enthusiastic there, possibly because of the penile spines, we don't know. So we talked a little bit about honest signals earlier. I'm going to move on to my particular species here. This is Dali, a lovely alpha male baboon. And as you can tell there, the male and female calls are different. I'm just going to talk about female calls for the rest of this talk, because it has been found by recording around 550 of these calls, along with the ID and rank of the male, that the call varies according to the quality of the male. So I've got two female copulation calls. It's our first one. Do we think that's a pretty good quality male? Yeah, all right. Yeah. This is our alpha male. Remember, this is still the female producing the call. So I mentioned honest signalling earlier. That was a little bit of a white lie. Of course, it's not that straightforward. It depends on the audience. It depends who you're telling about this sex. So these next two are a female having sex with the same alpha male, the very handsome Dali. In this first scenario, there are other males around. So this is great, and now all the other males around will rush to compete because this female is advertising herself, she's with the best male, they're all jealous. However, if there's a female audience... That's a lie. So this is just another case in which we can tell that females are not only judging males and they're choosing them, but they also manipulate their audience. They're doing this to their own advantage, whatever it takes to gain advantage, really. So I'm just going to leave you with a couple of thoughts. Basically, due to female choice, sex for men has become less pleasurable, it's become harder to get an erection, and if you think you're getting some feedback during sex that seems to be a little bit fake, it probably is.